Welcome back, everybody, to another fantastic episode of the Every Pokemon Episode Ever podcast, or hashtag EPEEP for short. I am your host, Wrestling Chris G, and on the other line with me is my beautiful co-host, the one that swims to the bottom of the sea. It's good old Dougie Fresh. Dougie, man, how you doing?
I don't like to go that far down. My ears pop.
Yeah, me either. I mean, I can go down a little bit, but then once the water starts rushing into my ear and it starts giving me a headache and an earache, and it's not fun. Yeah. It's a horrible night. But today's episode 61, Doug. Happy 61 day.
What's the significance of 61?
Absolutely nothing.
Gotcha.
But today is episode 61 called The Misty Mermaid, or translated from Japan is Hanada Gym Underwater Battle.
Jesus Christ.
They are straight to the point, Doug.
Well, they are, but I guess the question is, should they be?
Well,
my answer would be no.
Well, they definitely are straight to the point this week because we do have nothing other than a gym battle. I mean, not a gym battle, an underwater battle in today's episode. So
call it what it is. It's fucking filler.
Yeah, filler is the easy way to go about it. But yeah, today's Who's That Pokemon as well is Horsea. Horsea?
No, it wasn't.
Wait, no, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
I am so sorry, everybody.
That would have made sense.
It would have.
It was Clefairy. It was Clefairy, which is dumb because that should be next
week. Yeah. Today was Clefairy. I was looking at the wrong one, everybody. But yeah, today's Who's That Pokemon is Clefairy, but it is Horsea in Japan.
Well, but that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
But Horsea was in an episode that made no sense, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Horsea was last week in the Blastoise episode.
But it was before that as well, I think. I think we're at a point where they're doubling up.
Yeah, I think they are. So
I should probably get the episode up.
You want to know the significance of this stuff? Okay.
I would love it.
All right. So fun fact here, everybody. So I don't know if things just got mixed up when they were doing the Who's That Pokemon, but on last week's episode with Blastoise, Horsea in America was our Who's That Pokemon, but of course they had Blastoise themselves. This week they have Horsea and we have Clefable. Next week they have Clefairy and we have Arcanine. The week after that they have Arcanine and we have Mr. Mime. And then the following week they have Mr. Mime and we have Jinx. It's like they're a week off on the Who's That Pokemon in America, and it's kind of messed up.
Well, it is, because I mean, if for no other reason than it would make sense otherwise. There just had to be, like you said, something was skipped in production or something.
Yeah, because literally, well, okay, the only way that I can salvage this is they're foreshadowing the Pokemon that's going to highlight next week's episode.
But that doesn't, but they're doing it in the middle of the episode.
Yes, they are.
It would be different if that was the last break before. Well, no, it would be if there was a break before they came back and did the Pokemon jukebox or something.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right, but it seems like they do this for quite some time. Actually, yeah, they do this for a while. And then we get into the Orange Islands, and things are just all over the place. So yeah, we don't apparently the US just said fuck it, and they just put any Pokemon in the Who's That Pokemon.
They said, who's really watching the commercials anyway? They're going to the bathroom, they're getting a snack.
I was about to say. So yeah, it's weird, people. It's weird. But how have you been doing, Doug?
Not bad. Can't complain. Just kind of knocking these episodes out.
For real. This has become the new norm for us, trying to at least get out 2 episodes at a time that we can, and doing that, we are really ahead. I couldn't even tell you. Let's see. So we're recording episode 61 today, and I believe we just put out an episode. Let's see. This should be very easy to do. Bum, bum, bum. How far ahead are we? We're about 10 episodes ahead because according to this, we have just released episode 52. So we're 9 episodes. Well, we're 10 because we haven't even released the Mewtwo Strikes Back movie. So we are 10 episodes ahead right now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes
Jesus
sense.
Christ. Uh,
How the hell
so
did that happen?
I have no idea, but we're really ahead. So let's keep it that way, Doug. But this episode aired September 3rd, 1998, and here in Japan, and here in the States, premiered September 23rd, 1999. Did you have anything that you wanted to chit chat about, Doug, before we get into our history moment?
No, should I?
No, I'm just asking. So, all right. So, September 23rd, Doug, and you actually made me do my homework off air. So, I got a little bit of homework that I'm going to present here to the audience. But on this day in 1846, astronomer Johann Gottfried Gale was the first person to ever observe the planet Neptune, Doug. Ooh,
Wow.
yeah. So we saw Neptune in the 1800s. And I have a few fun facts here that I can talk about good old Neptune, some of which I had no idea about. But according to NASA, Neptune is about 4 times wider than our planet Earth. And it says if Earth were a large apple, Neptune would be the size of a basketball. Holy shit.
Wow.
So that's how much bigger Neptune is. It says, let's see, Neptune also orbits our sun and is the 8th planet from the sun at a distance of 2.8 billion miles. Knowing that it's the 8th planet from the sun, I kind of knew that. And you might call me or say that I'm bullshitting, but my daughter loves this TV show called Blues, Clues, and You. And they have a whole episode that my daughter loves talking about the solar system. And they sing a song in it, which I'm not going to sing right now. But yeah, that's part of their song is talking about that. And one third and final fact that I'm going to give is that, let's see, Neptune takes about 16 hours to rotate once, and it takes 165 Earth years, so 165 years for us to orbit the sun once. And orbiting the sun once would they have classified as 1 Neptunian year. So yeah, I wouldn't even live to be 1 years old if I was on Neptune, Doug.
Well, that and, lack of oxygen and, all that stuff.
Yes. But to answer your question from off air, Doug, it does not have any rings. So.
Well, I knew that. I was just trying to, because I know you, and I haven't really forgiven you for that baseball one that you did early on, where you literally just read the little 2-sentence blurb and passed the ball over just to jump me one time. Because I think that might have been the first time you jumped me.
Does it still burn, Doug?
A little bit.
Little bit?
Little bit. So I'm going to make you work for it. Which is not a bad thing, because if the fine listeners remember last week's episode, I basically gave a little mini biography on our old pal Pag Antwhistle.
Yes.
So a little bit of backstory and a little bit of fleshing out doesn't hurt anybody once in a while.
But to be honest, I'm actually glad you did that, because I was reading Johan's name wrong, and I was calling him Johanna.
And you were calling him a girl, and you want
to know why I called him a girl? Because when I Googled on this day, September 23rd, a picture of a girl came up on a black and white picture of a female came up on the screen talking about astronomer Johann Gottfried Gale. Like, what? Yes. So if you guys Google it, you will see what came up for me, and you probably too would have made that assumption just glancing down at the name. So, yes.
Wow.
So Dougie, my buddy, what happened with you? Because you told me that you're not going to tell me until we're on the air. What is it, Doug?
Well, no, that was more in relation to next week. I would have told you about this one.
Of course.
It's the one next week I wouldn't tell you about. So on this day, September 23rd, 1962, the Jetsons premiere on ABC.
Get the fuck out of here. In 1962?
1962.
Why don't they have that as a big thing on the On This Day website? I'm going to file a complaint, Doug.
It's in there. It's on the highlights.
Of onthisday.com?
Yeah.
Bullshit. I'm looking. It jumps from 1961. Oh, wait. Never mind. Never.
I'm looking right.
Oh, shit. No, I clicked my September 23rd down. I was like, because I'm on next week's one that I have. And on the 25th, it jumps from 1961 to 1965. And I was like, bullshit. I'm looking right at it.
Right.
All right. You're right, Doug. You're right.
So the Jetsons is the futuristic counterpart to the Stone Age Flintstones. And this is also significant because this was the first television show to be broadcast in color on ABC.
Really? This was the Jetsons was the first color thing on ABC?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so why would you happen to know why that was the premier color thing, or did you not dig that far?
I didn't dig that far.
Because that's pretty fascinating.
I can guess that
because they had a lot of talk shows back then.
Well, I'm just kind of taking a quick glance of the wiki.
Okay.
Everybody's pal, Uncle Wikipedia. It said that ABC only had a handful of sitcoms in general that were capable of broadcasting in color in the early 1960s.
Gotcha.
It goes on to state that the Flintstones were always meant to be in color. I would imagine that, like, the Jetsons as a show, um, as colorful and as lively as it is, wouldn't necessarily translate as well in black and white.
Well, I don't think it would either because I'm one where I will watch the Jetsons, and I honestly still to this day, if it's on Boomerang late at night or sometime during the day, I'll turn it on. There's nothing wrong with it, even though Boomerang makes me feel extra old, so I tend to not watch Boomerang as much anymore because they put all of our shows that me and you grew up on Boomerang now, Doug.
Oh, you can't be putting Johnny Bravo on Boomerang.
Oh, Johnny Bravo's on Boomerang. Dexter's Laboratory is on Boomerang. The Powerpuff Girls is on Boomerang. All of that on Boomerang.
You know, that's supposed to be getting one of those CW reboots.
What is? Oh, the Powerpuff Girls. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. I've seen it. I've seen the girls. They very sexualized the Powerpuff Girls.
And it's starring you, so I think you should be
It is not starring me.
you should be more than happy to be watched. This should be like on the top of your list.
Nah, you don't fuck with the originals, the OG. I'm fine with them bringing back certain shows if they're gonna do it right, but I'm gonna watch the first episode. But something tells me they didn't do it right
Well, I mean,
because
I'm a good friend. I'll watch anything with you in it.
what I don't get your joke.
Dude, Donald Faison is basically you.
No, he is not.
It's pretty fucking close.
That is not me at all.
I don't know. It's pretty fucking close.
No.
I mean, you got a little more hair than he does right now, but
Uh,
uh,
that is not me. No.
I don't know. It's pretty fucking close.
I
I mean,
mean, I mean, I'll take it. I'll
not as
take
good as
it.
Will Smith, but it's pretty fucking close.
Yeah, not as good as Will Smith, but uh nah,
He's a
nah.
little more doughy than you are, but
He is, and he has a little bit more of a fatter face than I do
this is true. But it's pretty fucking close if you squint.
too. Is that Chris? No,
Nah.
nah. He has fuck you money. I'm nowhere near that. So, all right. You ready to jump on into this week's episode, Doug?
I'm more than ready. I think, and it's a little late now. It's 61 minutes in. But we should really keep a timer and see how long it takes before we actually get into Pokemon in these episodes.
Oh, well.
People are sitting there hitting the skip button and shit. God damn.
Well, as of right now, we are 18 minutes in, Doug.
Had to listen to a girl jump off the Hollywood sign last week for half an hour. What the fuck?
They're like, ooh, they took a dark turn last week. I don't know if I want to listen to this show. This show made me feel sad before I felt happy listening to some Pokemon.
We're gonna get all them negative reviews.
So, all right, everybody. Do you have the episode loaded up, bro?
I do. I didn't, but I do.
All right. So, we start this week by our heroes returning from Cinnabar Island to Viridian City.
Yeah, and we get the standard recap that we usually get. We don't get the video recap that we got the last couple weeks because it's not a two-parter, but
yes.
And we're sitting at a fountain, and Misty's Horsea is kind of feeling down in the dumps.
Yes. And with Misty's Horsea feeling down in the dumps, they're sitting here basically, they're like, well, maybe it needs some exercise. And then Brock is like, once in a while, you should make sure it gets to swim around because it is a water Pokemon and something bigger than this little dinky water fountain. So
Which is kind of bullshit because it's not like Brock's out there walking its bull picks every week.
uh, true, but his bull picks is also not sitting here sad as shit.
But you don't know how often do you see bull picks.
Anytime we need fire, that when Charizard doesn't want to act
Yeah.
right. So they're talking about how they wish that there was some type of big like aquarium or somewhere that they could take little Horsey, and Misty has the bright idea to go back home to her gym because of course she is a gym leader, and Ash is like, you're right, we can go to the Cerulean City gym, it's not too far from here. And they start on their way over there, Doug.
Yes, because, it's only Ash's last badge. We can take our time. Who the fuck wants to get the eighth badge so we can go, just,
Oh, if you're grumpy now, just wait until we're like two more seasons in when it takes Ash like 15 episodes to get his first badge, and then another 20 after that to get his second one.
horse shit.
So, so yes, this is a filler episode, if anything, everybody. And we have 2 episodes until we do have a gym battle for his 8th gym badge. But Horsey seems a little bit confused. And then the narrator, for some odd reason, after they decide to go to Cerulean City, comes back. We have the narrator coming back and briefing us on what we just heard in the cartoon, that our heroes are about to take a brief detour to Cerulean City, Doug.
Yeah, I don't know why we needed this. I mean, the three of them basically just hashed it out on by themselves.
Yes.
I didn't think that there needed to be anything hammered home.
No, there didn't, but they had silence. They had just nothing going on, and they didn't want to turn the screen without having any type of noise, Doug.
And
But
you could have been in the background of Misty's phone call because you caught the end of it anyway.
exactly, Misty is at a telephone, and this telephone is wireless, by the way. So this is a wireless little phone. I wouldn't have had a wireless telephone like the what were these called back in the day, Doug? These type of these type of phones.
It's a payphone.
Yeah, there you go. I forgot. All right, so
Christ, you're not that old.
my mind's not here right now.
Too full of Neptune facts.
I know, but this payphone is a wireless phone, and Misty is talking to her sisters. They're like, "Oh, how are you?" And we're gonna come visit. Are are you excited for us to come back? And you don't hear her sisters at all. And then this is when we get the whole title sequence, the Misty Mermaid.
Right.
All right. Why isn't my video playing? Come on, there we go.
Yeah,
All
there was a long pause on mine for some reason.
Same with me. So we jump from that. So they were on their way to Viridian City, and we're now taking a detour back to the Cerulean Gym, which has a very big dugong on the top of the gym. And it looks like a big old circus.
Right. And right when you walk up to the gym, you're confronted with a billboard advertising what looks to be an underwater ballet.
Yes. And it looks like it has a mermaid on it. It has
a prince.
Yes.
A dugong. There's a horsey.
And so Brock immediately is smitten over the mermaid girl. He's like,
over a goddamn drawing.
Yes, it's a drawing. He got all horned up real quick. He's like, she's pretty.
What does he say? He says something dumb.
What does he say? That's what he says. He says she's beautiful.
No, he says something real stupid. because he gets his dumb look.
So
He does. It's later. He says something real stupid.
okay, I was like, I believe he says that she's
There it
beautiful.
is. There it is. He says, "I would swim the deepest sea if I could meet a mermaid like her."
And unbeknownst to him, he's standing right next to her. But kind of
Fucked
for
up. It's fucked up, and I'll tell you why it's fucked up. Well,
why is it fucked
I'll
up?
tell you. No, I'll tell you why when we find out why it's fucked up. I'll tell you. I'll tell you later. In a couple minutes, I'll tell you.
All right. So after that, they go running into the Cerulean City gym, and Misty's like, "Everybody, I'm home." And this is when we're greeted by the three sisters.
And Misty is greeted like a hero, and they're wondering
Yes,
where she is, and they're a little confused as to why she didn't
come right
come
over.
immediately when she called, but they're glad that she's here, and they're
How
saying
much
hi to
time has
everybody. And
passed since they talked on the phone?
I don't know because we don't really find out exactly how far it is between um, Viridian and Cerulean City.
Yes.
I mean, we're just under the impression that it's close, so it's
So
not like 2 days later or something.
I know for real. But so one of her sisters was like, "We thought you were going to come straight after you called us, but she still made it here just in time, didn't she, Daisy?" And then everyone in the back is like, "Hi, everybody. Remember me?" And Ash is all smitten because the last time he saw these girls, he was handed a gym badge just for helping them in the gym.
Well, I mean, he saved the gym ish.
What'd you say?
He saved the gym ish.
Ish. I mean, the gym still blew up.
Well, but he got the Pokemon out.
So Brock is still over here
Yeah, and
just
why? Okay, and that's a fair point. Why isn't that referenced? Oh boy, the last time we saw this place.
this place was all blown up. So I mean, hey, well, we get that in a few episodes when they get back to Viridian City.
Well, shit.
Because remember the Pokemon Center over there blew up, and freaking Ash was like, "Oh, the Pokemon Center is back up and running." Yeah, because Nurse Joy had to call in that insurance.
Yeah, well,
So it's at this point that the sisters are not telling Misty what they meant by "where have you been" or any of that. They walk over to Ash and Brock and Pikachu, and they're like, "Oh, how have you been?" And Misty's just standing in the back, like, "What the hell is going on here?" And then she's like, "Oh, I almost forgot. I got to go put Horsea in our big pool." So we switch over to a scene where she's at the big swimming pool and she puts Horsea in the swimming pool. And Missy's like, "Okay, now go enjoy this big pool, okay?"
and
And
Horsea's got a smile on its face, and it's just swimming, and it's just happy, and
but this is it me? I mean, okay, so Horsea agreed to come along with Misty, right, on her journey. They're
had
not.
no choice. Well, no, that's true. That's true. Horsea.
Horsey chose to come over
Yeah.
with Misty. I mean, I get Horsey may sometimes reminisce about being a wild Pokemon and being out there and being able to be in open sea and everything. They're not gonna stop at every big lake just to get Horsey to come out and swim for a little bit.
No, and like I said a minute ago, it's not like Brock is constantly
Walking
walking Vulpix.
Vulpix. So, all right. So, Doug, I'm going to have you take this next part on the sisters saying that they do not have all day when they walk up to Misty putting Horsey in the pool.
So Misty is immediately confused, and she's like, "Oh, right, the show. Um, is there anything else that I can help with, or is there anything I can help with?" And she's like, oh, costumes or whatever. And then Ash is like, well, I'd like a ticket.
And
And then
Brock's like, I'd like a ticket too. I really want to meet this mermaid.
and Brock's like, has the famous mermaid arrived yet? We'd like to meet her. They're like, you already have. She's standing right there. And Brock and Ash are, idiots. And they literally have to take their heads and turn them towards Misty.
And Misty's like, who? Me?
And this is why it's fucked up, right?
Yes.
Because what would they have done if she hadn't have called to come and make a visit home?
Well, what if she took an extra few days to come out there? They would have been fucked.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
it's not like they were calling her trying to get a hold of her.
well, she don't have a cell phone. She had to call on a wireless payphone.
Wow.
So, and they said that this place or this play is called The Magical Mermaid, and you, Misty, you are the star. And Misty's like, ah. And she's like, you must be crazy. I'm no ballerina. And they're like begging her because apparently sales have gone down in Cerulean City. And they give her the sob story that less and less people are coming to the show. But we figured if you're here and you come in and you help us with a brand new show, brand new choreography, brand new everything, and brand new Pokemon, that more and more people would want to come out here and come and see this show. And it will bring more revenue into the gym. Because let's be real. So as of right now, that's what these that's what the gym leaders there, her sisters, that's how they get their profits now because the Pokemon League is now literally coming up and not many trainers are looking for any more badges. Most of them have all 8 badges. So this is how they have to eat at night.
Right, because they're so early on the tour that basically they get their traffic early, but there's not a lot of repeat business.
Yes.
So basically, the sisters are trying to sell Misty on this new underwater ballet, and she,
Misty doesn't want to do it.
right. She's like, well, that's too bad. They're like, you don't want to disappoint all the people, and Misty's like, well, tough titties, and one of the sisters is like, what about the kids? And well, shit.
Yeah, and they had enough nerve to say that they advertised on TV and the radio that Misty was coming back, and that since announcing that Misty is coming back to the gym to be in the ballet, that all the tickets have completely sold out.
Reminds you of something that's coming up, doesn't
it? Yeah, just a little bit. So good one, Doug. Good one.
That just registered. Yeah, too much Neptune facts.
Yeah,
that's the last time you do your homework.
My brain is fried.
Gonna let you run from now on.
That is a reference, everybody. And by the time this episode comes out, the show would have passed. But me, good old Dougie Fresh, C Note, my wife, my son, and our friend Jared, we're all going to the United Center to watch AEW Rampage, which is the debut of CM Punk. Supposedly the debut of CM Punk. And also, we have tickets a couple weeks later to go to AEW All Out. So we have 2 wrestling shows within 3 weeks. Fun.
People listening to this go, I remember Rampage.
Not that Rampage. So Misty is upset, but with this whole thing and them saying that they advertised her and that it's completely sold out.
Ash still wants a seat, by the way.
Yeah, Ash is still sitting here. He's like, well, even though it's sold out, can I still get a seat to go see this show? And Misty's like, I'm not doing this. And the sisters are like, but the first performance is tomorrow. And Misty's like, tomorrow?
I would have stood up and said, tough shit. You could have tried to get a hold of me somehow.
Oh.
Send a carrier Pidgeotto or something.
And one of her sisters are just sitting there like, please, Misty, please. Can you please do this for us? We really need it. And Ash and Brock are like, just give it a shot, Misty. What is it going to hurt?
Which is easy for them to say. They're not the ones that have to learn the choreography and shit.
In less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
And
fuck them.
So the sisters grab Ash and Brock's hand and they're like, you understand how important this is. You wouldn't turn your back on your hometown, would you, for the sake of the Cerulean gym?
Tears in their eyes and shit. And they're just a bunch of dopey guys and they're fucking...
And Misty finally bites the bullet and says, fine, I'll do it. And this is like, we got her. We could always get our baby sister to do whatever we wanted to do, like total bitches.
Fucking female manipulation anyway. Bunch of catty bitches anyway.
Oh man, like that's such an asinine thing to do. I mean, because what if at that point Misty was just like, I'm not doing it. Just because you said that, I'm not doing it. I'll be in the audience and I'll watch you guys.
Right.
What?
I would have said no. I would have said, you know what, you spending all this money on advertisement, but you can't reach out and get a hold of me somehow to give me more than a day notice?
Yeah, reach out to every single Pokemon Center out there. Once we arrive there, they'll give me the message. There you go.
Yeah. That's what happened before.
Exactly. That's how Ash's mom got a hold of him.
Yeah.
So it's at this point where we cut to a different scene, and Togepi, cute little Togepi, is walking alongside the swimming pool that Horsea is swimming in and almost falls into the swimming pool and then catches itself, and Pikachu goes over and tries to save it, but realizes that Togepi did not fall in, and is just in disbelief, like, oh my gosh, where Misty, come get your baby.
I'm saying, like, I mean, you know, I understand she's got to do this conversation, but she could have been holding Togepi this whole time.
Yeah.
So poor Pikachu ends up in the drink, and then we pan up and we're in the middle of a very slapdash rehearsal.
Yes. You want me to go?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they present the script over to Misty. Misty is still not wanting to do this. And they said it's about a magical mermaid who is relaxing peacefully with her seal when two evil villains suddenly appear. And then two of the sisters have like little pirate swords, and they both put them at each other's neck, and they're like, ah. And Misty's like, what the hell? And then one of the sisters goes, we tie you up and try to make you tell us where the sunken ship is. And but when you won't tell us, we get really, really rough on you. And
Misty asks for a stand-in
because she's scared.
Gets bonked in the head. And then, you know, it's at that point I get hit, I'm out 100% because I have literally been thrown into the deep end here.
Yeah,
and now I'm getting beat up. Fuck this. We're going back and we're getting Ash's last badge 2 episodes early.
Exactly. Like she's sitting here. She doesn't want to do this. She doesn't have to do this, but she's trying to help her sisters. So, and her sisters have enough nerve to take the script, roll it up, and hit her on the head like if you're hitting the dog on its booty. Saying no.
I wouldn't. That'd be the final straw. I was coerced into doing it because I'm a nice person. But you started hitting me and picking on me, fuck it.
So, and she's like, and she even says, she's like, I'm doing you a favor. Stop picking on me. And I'm doing the best that I can. So they start talking about how they fight off the villains to save her, and her sister's like, "Hi ya, hi ya," and the magical mermaid and the prince fall totally in love and raise a whole lot of seal.
And Brock goes, I sure do love that prince. And Ash goes, I like the seal.
And Missy's like, "You would." And we go straight from that to let's see.
We go outside of the gym and we're introduced to Team Rocket for the episode.
Yes. They see the poster for the first time for this ballerina skit. And is it me or does James look different in this episode? Or
How do you
at least in this scene.
how
Look
do
at
you
his
figure?
look at his eyes. In the first time that he comes in before Meowth jumps in.
Before
And,
Meowth.
so at 7:25.
Yeah.
So it's they're like reenacting ballerina skits, and of course James is in his zone because acting like a female is his forte, Doug.
Well, no, well, yes, but he also has a line later. He
Not wanting
says
to dress up like women.
he says he studied ballet at school, and they seem to be intrigued by the idea of the show. And Meowth is, of course, thinking in terms of all the Pokemon, all the water type Pokemon that they can steal
Yes.
and get back to the boss to get back in the good graces.
Okay, so it's not just me. No, James and Jesse look completely different in this opening scene. Like James looks like they cheaply drew him or they didn't have enough money to convert James over to the way that he's supposed to look. I have no idea. He looks all sorts of weird in this episode, people. We're watching the Pokemon TV episode, which is the original airing of this episode that they put on their website. And James just looks all sorts of weird.
Well, sometimes it happens in animation where a character just gets off model for a scene or two. And again, this isn't something that they were anticipating back in '99.
That we would be able to go back and rewatch it like this. Yeah.
Rewatch it and pause and scrutinize each cell and all that hootenanny.
And Jessie is sitting there and she's like, "Do you think we could get tickets to go see this show?" And Meowth has the bright idea. He's like, "Yeah. And the show could be our ticket to some Pokemon." And we go straight from that to when they fade out the scene and we're getting fireworks at the Cerulean City Gym.
In the middle of the day.
Yes, to welcome everybody to the circus, basically. This is a big circus, is a big show. It's like Cirque du Soleil is in town, a brand new show, and there's a long ass line on the outside of this gym, Doug.
And the sisters are seeing a line and they're crying with joy because their master plan to coerce Misty into starring in the show and saving the gym, and it's all coming to fruition.
Yes. And they're like, "Oh, we're so happy that we tricked Misty into doing this show." They're still on that. I I would have walked out the day of the show and just said, "Fuck you."
It wouldn't have even been the day of the show. I wouldn't have even sat down for rehearsal. I would have said, no, I need more than a day. This is ridiculous.
But Ash, Brock, Togepi, and Pikachu were able to get a seat somewhere inside of this tent.
Gosh, I would hope they'd be comped. They know the star, for goodness sakes.
And it's at this point that Misty says that she's kind of nervous, but she knows that she can do this. And then we're getting the start of the show, Doug.
Yeah. You were pretty much launched right into it. Misty is Misty's on a high dive, and everybody's all looking up at her, looking completely focused and absolutely gaga, and the sisters are narrating it, and you get a
Yes.
spotlight on the Pokemon at the bottom of the pool, and it's just a wide array of water type Pokemon, and Misty's
Dude, but
got
this big ass water tank that they had come from the bottom of the pool and come all the way up around everybody, that's a spectacle.
well, yeah. I mean, this is a whole big to do, and Misty's her hair's down, and she's wearing a mermaid outfit. She dives in, and she starts doing like an underwater waltz with a seal, and she's being circled by Goldine, and what I'm assuming is her Horsea. Um, she she doesn't have a breathing apparatus yet, which
Doug, my son called Misty out on this. He because when we were watching this, he's like, "How can she breathe underwater like this?"
well, and they catch it in like 2 minutes. Um, and then the rest of them, when they enter the water, they have them.
Yes.
But yeah, she didn't have it right away, and I'm like, wait a minute, she's going all the way. And I understand it's not like it's maybe not that deep of a pool, but still, I mean, she's going underwater. She's going through like a cave. Like she's under there for a minute. Like
But she does go underneath the cave, and underneath inside of the cave has a part where she can come up and catch her breath for a second. And then from there, she holds her breath again, and dives back in, and she's sitting there smiling, and her sisters are narrating how marvelous. She's so wonderful. I can't believe it. And the sisters are like, backstage that plays the pirates, they're like, maybe I should have played the magical mermaid because her outfits look a lot better than ours.
don't be selfish.
I know.
Besides, it would look much better on me.
And then we have Team Rocket come into the mix. And please tell me, why does James like cosplaying as a female so much? I don't get it.
I think he's a team player. I think is the
You think
he's
this is Jesse's idea?
yeah, I think so. I think she's definitely the alpha in the relationship, and I think he's just happy to be part of the team and have some structure in his life because he was kind of a bit of a ruffian. I mean, an upper crust ruffian, but a ruffian nonetheless because he was in that bike gang. Remember?
Yes.
And I think, yeah, I just think he doesn't want to make waves.
And it's at this point.
Plus, once you have tits, I mean, it's all. I mean, what the
hell? We'll never let him live that down.
No, we won't. I have to do the episode twice. We'll never hear the end of it.
So, all right, everybody. So we get the assumption that Team Rocket has kidnapped two of Misty's sisters during this time frame.
Yes, because we got a brief shot of them backstage saying that we could play the villains, and that was pretty much the end of it. And then they just showed up on the spotlight on the diving board. And then they jump into the pool with the breathing apparatuses.
Yes.
And then they're underwater doing their motto, which is kind of impressive. And they even have a letter R drop in under them. And Jesse is holding James up, and the crowd's eating this up. They don't know that it's not part of the show. So the crowd's cheering, and they're thrilled, and Team Rocket's eating it up because they weren't expecting the applause.
But, well, Team Rocket just likes being stars.
Oh, this is true.
And this is when we find out that Clefairy is the Who's That Pokemon this week, Doug.
Which, pay no attention until next week.
Yeah, exactly. Remember, everybody, for the next few weeks, they're foreshadowing next week's episode. So we come back from our commercial break, and Team Rocket's like, it looks like we are really the bad guys. And she's like, yeah, we're bad. And they put that in quotations. And nobody's better at stealing water Pokemon than we are. And James like, and next time we steal men's clothes. I love that line.
Yeah, he said next time we steal men's clothes. I mean, come on
I'm,
now.
I'm tired of dressing as a female. Come on, Jesse. And then they put on the breathing apparatus and they jump in. And Ash and Brock realize that it's Team Rocket and that this is not a part of the play. So they start running off to go save Misty.
And then Jesse's other sister, the one that's going to play the prince, is all in her get up and she's ready to go out and she's intercepted by Ash, Brock, and Pikachu, basically saying what you said about Team Rocket not being part of the show. Don't go out there, it's not safe. But here, hold Togepi.
Yes. So it's at this point now that Misty is joined by Team Rocket inside of the water. Everybody is eating this up at this point. And Misty's like, woohoo. Or no, Jesse and James, they do their motto and they're like, oh, they love us. They love us. They really love us. And Meowth is on top of some balance beam above the pool. And it looks like he has a button which is going to steal the show, he says. And he clicks it and caves in the entire top of the gym again. So now they have a second insurance claim that they got to put into this gym.
Right.
Um, and Team Rocket's balloon is now dropping into the gym, Doug.
Yep. And then a net comes down and conveniently catches all the Pokemon in one swoop.
Yes, and it doesn't take too much anyway. I mean, there's like 3 Godine inside of the water, which they got first, so they got a whole bunch of Godine. Misty sees this and she's like, Horsea, we got to go attack. And she's like, you stop, you can't take these Pokemon. And she grabs a hold of the net. And Jesse is like, I'm afraid your underwater acting career is all washed up. Get it?
Boo.
Get it?
Boo.
And James is like, make like a clam and scram. 2 in 1, Doug. 2 in 1.
At least that rhymed.
So as this is going on, the crowd is loving this. So unbeknownst to the crowd, but the crowd thinks that all of this is really going on. And let's see. Misty's like, these Pokemon don't belong to you, and you don't belong here. And they're just tackling back and forth with this net. Again, the crowd is eating all of this up at this time. And it's at this point now that we arrive backstage to Misty's sister, who's playing the prince. Who she makes a pretty good looking prince, by the way. Like from behind, if you didn't see her from the front, you would totally think that she was a boy. Doug?
Just gonna let that breathe. I'm not gonna.
I
just want to make sure that everybody's clear that that's Wrestling Chris G. Said that. The views of Wrestling Chris G are not necessarily the views of EPeep.
Well, like I said, she makes a good looking prince. So here comes Ash and Brock, and Brock has Togepi in hand. And Ash is like, you can't go out there. Those villains aren't actors. And Brock hands over Togepi to Misty's sister and says, hold this for me. And Ash and Brock and Pikachu go and jump into this pool. And they have the breathing apparatus. So, let me ask you something, Doug. And I'm not totally keyed into all of this, but maybe you are. Are those real things in real life? Like, can you buy those in a store and be able to breathe underwater like that?
Yeah. they're not as um, they're not as cumbersome as these. Like I think at this point they're probably smaller devices that you can just kind of
Put in your mouth and
put
breathe.
in your cheek or something. Because I mean these are like basically kazoos.
Yeah, they are.
Um, I'm sure there's devices that you can kind of like hook like maybe you can put in your nose and or something. But yeah, I mean these are things that you would use if you were like at SeaWorld or something.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering.
Although I think SeaWorld's kind of been in shit for a while.
Well, they're making a comeback these days, but that we'll talk about that on a different episode. But at this time, we go backstage again, and Misty's sister Daisy is completely confused holding Togepi, and then her sisters bash open the locker that they were put in by Team Rocket because they're tied up and everything, and they completely fall out.
And
And
one of them is knocked out, and the other one's just kind of sitting there going, "Well, this sucks."
part of me thinks low key that the reason one of them is knocked out is because the other sister took her and was bashing her head into the locker until they fell out of
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
it.
Like it's either you or me, goddamn.
And she won. Um, so we go outside, not outside. We go back into the swimming pool with Misty and Team Rocket, and they're still wrestling with the Goldeen. These are some big Goldeen, by the way, huge because these are not Sea Kings yet, but these Goldeens are very big and they're very fat.
They're performance gold.
Yes. So it's at this point that Team Rocket sees Ash and Brock and Pikachu coming up from behind them. So Jesse sends out Arbok, and my son was so confused. He's like, "Wait a minute, they're in water. How
Yeah,
are?"
I had a second. I was like, wait, this shouldn't be a thing.
But snakes can swim.
Yes, but it's not explained.
You're right, but I suspended my belief because I was watching what was that show called Naked and Afraid last night.
I bet you were.
Shut up! I like that show.
I bet you do.
Shut up! Not like that.
Mm.
But I was watching it last night, and they were in an Amazon that had some snakes in the water, and these snakes, by all means, were just swimming, and they were swimming faster than I can probably run. Like these snakes were swimming fast. So here comes Arbok, and Arbok is going in and it tries to tackle Pikachu, Ash, and Brock. And this is when Misty sends her Horsea in and says, "Attack!" Like, what the hell is attack going to do?
Just get them.
And now it's Horsea versus Arbok, and Misty sends Horsea over for a bubble attack. So Horsey does bubble attack, and it's no match because Arbok can see the bubbles coming from a mile away because they're in water, everybody, and it just swats it away.
Just swats it away and then goes for a tail whip to completely knock out Horsey. And Horsey has enough presence of mind to use
Mog.
smog, and then out of the smog comes Sea King with a drill,
Yeah, horn drill attack.
horn drill, and is pestering Arbok. So James has the bright idea to throw out Wheezing, and what happens is supposed to happen, and Wheezing immediately comes to the surface KO'd.
Yes, because Weezing can't breathe. And so there you go. Weezing is knocked out. We did jump over the fact that after Horsey did its smog attack inside of the water, comes running back over to Misty. Horsea is still feeling sick, or something's still wrong with Horsea. So we're still playing that part up in this Pokemon episode. And then right above the water, we get the three sisters come out, and they're right behind Meowth, who is gracefully watching this act. So Meowth is watching this entire thing, just enjoying the mess out of it.
And one of the sisters throws out Misty's Psyduck, and her words of wisdom are, only water Pokemon can battle in the water. And then Psyduck goes down about halfway, and then, I don't know, has a realization that, oh, I'm underwater. I don't want to be underwater.
Yeah, her Psyduck can't swim and apparently can't breathe underwater, so it forgets that it's a water Pokemon.
And Misty's sister goes, her Psyduck is embarrassing.
I'm sure Togepi, with its metronome, which we haven't seen yet, could have done a better job than this Psyduck.
So then Ash comes out with Squirtle, and we get like a headbutt, and then Starmie comes out, and it's basically 3-on-1 against Arbok.
Arbok is just getting owned. They got skull bashed, they got tackled, it's getting horn drilled by Sea King, and James like, uh-oh, we're in trouble. And Jesse's like, Arbok, poison sting attack now.
And then Arbok just goes into complete beast mode and starts chasing after the three of them and gets them cornered.
Yes.
To the point where it's like, oh shit, something's about to go down. And then a daggum seal, the seal, I suppose.
Yes.
Jumps in front of him and is kind of like, ain't getting through this shit. And Jesse and James start laughing because it's a little seal at the end of the day. And
just like, finish it off.
And the seal is like using its agility and like twirling all over Arbok and just hitting it here and there and everywhere. And Meowth's up on top going, don't tell me you're going to let that little pipsqueak push you around. And
let me add something real quick. This seal was completely headbutting this Arbok and not phasing Arbok at all. Did you notice that?
No, I mean, it was definitely doing the maneuver, but it wasn't bothering Arbok other than, knock it off, get out of it, quit doing that, fucking, get out of here, like you would mess around with a gnat.
Yeah.
And, clearly this was building up some kind of energy for the seal, because Misty has enough presence of mind to call out for the Aurora Beam, and
which knocks out Arbok.
Completely knocks it out. And then they're sitting there, and then all of a sudden the seal starts to kind of spin around and it starts to evolve, and everybody is always shocked by an evolution.
Well, they were like, what is Seal doing? Because they thought he was about to do a new attack, and then Meowth is like, could it be evolving? And then it evolves into a fucking dugong.
It evolves into a dugong, and basically, if they were getting bossed around by this seal, they're screwed now, because dugong is, capable.
I have a problem with this next part. Ash brought out his Pokédex underwater.
Should have been completely waterlogged. Should have been completely fucked. I mean, look, granted, you and I can go into a pool and sit at the bottom of the pool and bring out our phones, and we should be fine.
Yes, but this was 1998.
Right.
So he pulls out Dexter, which should not be waterproof, but I guess it is. And it says, Dugong, the evolved form of Seal. This water ice Pokemon can easily resist extreme cold. And then that's all that Dexter gives out. And Jesse's like, get that Seal or Doodad or whatever it is now.
I like Doodad. I did like. I got a chuckle out of Doodad, if I'm being honest.
But how did freaking Arbok was just knocked out by Aurora Beam, but it woke back up underwater and is able to start fighting again?
Well, for a second, and then it gets smacked with the tail, and then it's basically over again. Because then Dugon uses Ice Beam and freezes them, and then Pikachu. Well, they get the Goldines in a net.
Yes.
They bring them safely onto a rock, which doesn't make any sense, but hey ho.
They could breathe out of water for a few. Let's just imagine that.
I suppose. And then,
well, they had to get them out of the water because if they kept them in the water, Pikachu would have fried them.
Would have had fried Goldeen. Yeah,
Yes.
that's fair. So then Pikachu, standing on the rock, does a thunder attack all around the water, basically shattering the iceberg that had Team Rocket in them. Team Rocket gets blasted up to the surface, and then Dugon
just whips it with its tail.
Turns around, basically hits a home run with its tail, knocks the pile of them into the balloon, which also, lest we forget, had Meowth in it, and knocks the balloon, and Team Rocket goes blasting off again.
Yes.
And the crowd is just going
cheering.
Completely bonkers.
How did they not know that this was not a part of the show? Like, they broke the ceiling of the gym.
Yes.
Like,
they should have been evacuated.
Yes. But the sisters are telling everybody, that was the show, everybody. Come back to the Cerulean Gym real soon. And we're basically being told that this is what revived the gym. So how are they going to pull this off later on? We don't know.
Yeah, because that would have been my question, because one of the sisters says, oh, we're totally booked up for the next 6 months. Right, but you're not going to put a hole in the roof every show for 6 months.
Well, maybe they reenact what just happened.
They have a breakaway panel.
So they start talking backstage about how they're not going to have enough Pokemon to do this show that they have booked up for the next 6 months now. So they ask Misty if they can borrow one of hers. And it's at this point Brock holds his chin and he's like, well, Horsea has been kind of sad on the journey with us. Why don't you leave Horsea with your sisters? And Misty's like, all right, take good care of it.
Bullshit. Why are these three so reticent to just leave Pokemon?
Well, we should do a whole episode of how bad of a trainer some of these trainers are, and certain promises that are never basically brought back up. Because we have some stuff that's coming up real soon, Doug, where we don't ever see some of these Pokemon anymore.
Right.
Like on a future episode, Ash never comes back for his Pidgeotto, even though he says, when I come back in the town, I'm going to come and get you, Pidgeotto. And he never comes back. He's been back in town like 6 or 7 times and has not once gone back to get his Pidgeotto.
Fucking deadbeat.
Yeah, exactly. So... and then one of the sisters tries to take Togepi as well, even though Togepi can't be a part of the show. And Misty's like, no, you're not taking my Togepi, but you can keep this if you want. And she puts Psyduck in the front. Both of her sisters are like, we're not that desperate.
And then they're like, oh, Pikachu's cute. And Ash is like, don't even fucking start.
Her sisters are just being greedy. But it's at this point that... their sisters are like, all right, go hurry up and become a Pokemon master so you can come back, blah, blah, blah. And the narrator sees everybody off, and it's now Ash's turn to go and get his Earth badge, everybody. So now he is back on his journey to Cerulean City. And we end the episode with Misty still going, Ash, you still owe me a bike. And that is it.
Yep. I was kind of disappointed we didn't get a little tag on with Team Rocket like we've gotten before, but this was fine.
Filler again.
A complete filler episode. Yeah, fucking 2 out of 5 if I'm being generous.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go about 1.5 to 2 stars as well. This was not one of the better episodes. Um, I mean, it was nice seeing Misty in a mermaid outfit, like out of her regular getup. I do always get a kick out of seeing Ash in his black shirt when he's not in his whole got to catch all these Pokemon getup, and Brock not in his regular attire as well. But outside of that, there wasn't much in this episode. If you missed this episode on a random day that it came out, you didn't miss anything. So
Not at all.
no. So all right, Doug. Well, it's the end of the show, and you know what that means. I'm gonna start turning into JR.
Yeah, I'm getting deja vu.
It's the end of the show, Doug, and you know what that means.
I've tried this before. It hasn't worked, so I don't know. I'm just gonna.
You're gonna roll with the punch. It is pack opening time, everybody, and I have another Chilling Rain booster pack sitting right here, and we're hoping for a pull. This one's a little heavier. I purposely chose this one because this one seems to be just a slight bit heavier than some of my other packs. So we're looking for a great pull this week, everybody. A great pull.
Things you can say about a pack of cards that you can't say about your wife. I chose this one because it's a little heavier.
Hey, some people like that, man. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's 2021, man.
Yeah, but you say that to the wrong girl, you get smacked.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So let's go ahead and open up this pack. Okay. All right. Gonna take this code and gonna put it down. Take the top 4 cards, put them at the bottom. And all right, Doug, I'm going to ask you, and this is going to start being a little game that we're going to do on here.
Why do we take the top 4 cards and put them on the bottom? Is that because they're the good cards and the rest are...
No, so when you take the top 4 cards and you put them at the bottom, the last card that you are going to see when you're going through the cards should be the rarest one out of the whole bunch.
Aha.
Yes. So that's the way to shuffle your cards when you get brand new Pokemon packs, everybody.
Gotcha.
At least for this Chilling Rain pack. I know there's a few different tricks for different other packs, but for the Chilling Rain, you take the top 4 cards. So here's a game I'm going to play with you, Doug, and we're going to start playing this game weekly because I think it'll be pretty nice. So the first card is always going to be an energy card, Doug.
Mm-hmm.
What energy am I going to look at first?
I'm going to go out of left field, and I'm going to say a fire energy.
A fire energy. All right. And the bottom is a psychic energy.
Shit.
All right. So we have a psychic energy. We have a lucky energy. We have a Galarian chest plate, which is a trainer card. We have a Flaffy, a Spheal, a Hatena, a Rock Ruff, a Shuppet, a Snowy Form Cast Form. All right. And I have a Reverse Hollow Steenie. And whoa, everybody! We have a Shiny Ice Rider Calyrex V card, everybody. Our first great pull in about 3 weeks of doing this. This is awesome. This is going away. I do not want to even put my fingerprints anywhere near this card anymore. I got a shiny Ice Rider Calyrex, everybody. Woohoo! Yes, Doug. Yes.
That almost sounds rehearsed. I mean, because I've heard you get hyped.
It's not.
I don't know.
I promise you it's not. But no, yes, I got a shiny Ice Rider Calyrex, everybody. Follow us at every Pokemon podcast on Instagram if you want to take a look at these Pokemon cards. Make sure you do that. Make sure you follow us at Poke Breakdown on Twitter. And if you want to help us out and follow us on Patreon and you want to listen to all of our episodes ad-free, everybody, you can go ahead and go to patreon.com/everypokemon. So we have both the Shadow and the Ice Rider. So, all right. I'm happy, Doug.
Oh, there you go.
I am very happy right now.
But see, you also didn't say, "Oh, I'm looking for it in this pet." You didn't say that.
I did not say it. Okay. Yeah, maybe you're on to something, Doug. Maybe you're
on to something.
Maybe. Okay, we'll see. We'll see when it comes to next week's pack if I don't say what I'm looking for. If we get what we want. Because I'm still on the look for that golden Snorlax as of right now. So we will see what we end up getting on next week's pack. That is I believe that's the rarest one, but I don't think that I'm going to get it.
Well, not with that attitude.
Well, I don't like if my son was the one opening these packs. He would probably get it because for some God-given reason, my son opening Pokemon packs, he has the best luck in the world when it comes to this stuff. For me, I have shit luck outside of this. Yeah, but you're kind of chopping it up to that. It's because I didn't say anything beforehand.
Hey, I mean, like I say, I watch people open packs in Mutt all the time, and they're talking about pack luck, and they're talking about doing them blindfolded, and they're talking about opening them back to front, and they're, it's all tricks, man.
All right. Well, we will see, Doug. All right. Well, do you have anything else to add to this week's episode, Doug?
Don't believe so. I think we should just go out on a high.
All right. So, well, if we're going to go out on a high, I don't even think you need your goodbye, Doug, this week.
Well, no, let's not go crazy.
Say goodbye, Doug.
Goodbye, Doug.
And this is Wrestling Chris G telling all of you, don't miss next week's episode because it has my favorite Pokemon in it, everybody. Clefairy. In the Clefairy Tales. Have a good night, everybody.